So before we jump into the seminars, we're gonna talk a little bit about lead generation that works year round. I feel like this is a good reminder. We talk about all the time with our team and our agents. Some of you do it, some of you don't do it enough. So we'll talk about lead generation ideas, and then we'll break down the seminar, the workshop, and what you need to do. And like I was saying in my intro, people buy from whom they know, like, and trust, right? And so how you get to them is the skill set of building a very successful Medicare practice. All right. Those of you that don't work with us, we are a Medicare FMO. We have nationwide distribution of both Medicare and under 65 products. We've contracted over 500 agents in all 50 states since we've been working with agents. And we find that whenever we talk to agents, marketing is the key to your growth. If you do not do marketing, you will not grow, right? You have to either spend money or time, or a combination of both to be successful in this business. And if you're not marketing and you're just waiting on referrals, then you're not going to grow as quickly as people that are investing time or money or both. And so, we have terrific ways to market through seminar marketing, which we'll be talking today. Direct mail still works. A lot of our agents have moved to telemarketing, closing cases over the phone. More and more of our agents are doing it. It is the Walmart season, so in a few days we're going to be getting our Walmart list to see which of our agents want to participate. We just can't say this enough, how important it is to market to grow your business. Those of you that are not using Medicare Center yet and you work with us, like, you really need to implement Medicare Center this year for the annual enrollment. There's going to be so much disruption, so much change with the Medicare Advantage products, and probably with the drug plans as well. Probably won't know the full impact of the drug plans until the end of August when they get their bids back. And then we have our own CRM that we give free to our agents. It's called Medicare Helper. Medicare Helper has some amazing links that put all the carrier links into one spot. It's a very sophisticated program. It's through Go High Level, and you're able to build out campaigns to automate and email your clients. And again, this is something that we white labeled from Go High Level, and we provide no cost to our agents. Yeah, and the other thing that I tell people is, if you're not licensed in a certain state, so let's say John gets a referral in Delaware or wherever, and the fee's $300 to get appointed. You don't want to get appointed. We'll write the case and do some type of split or referral with you. And if it's a Medicare supplement, we could split that in perpetuity, meaning that through the course of the lifetime of the case. So everybody on the line is at a different spot, right? Medicare doesn't happen overnight. I always say, be wary of marketers that say you're going to earn a six-figure income overnight. It takes a while to build, and if you have a plan and a strategy, and you work hard, it's impossible not to build it. There's just so many clients that need our help, right? The business is projected to grow to like 80 million Medicare beneficiaries, like through 2030. And so the market is just so big. And so sometimes we just need to stop and think about, what do we enjoy doing? What's our strategy to get in front of new people? And when I say get in front, right, it could be through Zoom, it could be through buying leads, it could be by going in the retail setting, right? And so the opportunity is there, that's for sure. All right. Again, successful agents are doing these things already. I'm still in a networking group. All right. Networking groups work. And, we know all of these other processes work as well. All right. I think this is like the last slide before we jump into seminars. So people that don't want to spend money on leads, and want to build a business through grassroots or through referral partners, this is a fantastic way to grow your local business. So we have a lot of agents that have relationships with attorneys, CPAs. Financial advisors are the best, right? I just emailed a financial advisor that refers to me, who hasn't referred to me in a while. I just sent him a text. I said, "Hey, Colin, it's been a while since we've chatted. Can we connect?" But financial advisors typically don't want to write Medicare, and so they are terrific to try and catch up with. We also have other insurance agents that don't do Medicare, right? If you belong to a organization like NABIP, or a networking group, or you hang out with, or if you're in groups where insurance agents are, or if you go to chambers of commerce. Carolyn, do you go to chambers of commerce? Carolyn King, you're on mute. Rotary Club. So it's interesting. Insurance agents that have been around for a while that want to do Medicare, they figured out a way to get in front of other professionals, right? So Carolyn does Rotary. Is anybody else? Is anybody else in a club or a networking group or an association? John, who are you with?
I am with several chambers of commerce, and I just joined a national chamber, which basically gives me access to people in other states. So I can sit in on their Zoom meetings for like the Carolinas.
Okay.
I'm in the Carolinas, so my hope is that I can maybe make some contacts there and get some leads.
Yeah, and it takes time, but the more of these groups that you're in, right, the more free marketing that comes to you. And so this is not part of what you're doing. You really need to think about it. Because if I'm still networking and still in networking groups, it's because it works, right? And so I've been in networking groups where I've met agents that that have decided to work with me, and I've also picked up agents or clients to write in my own production. So we're heading into AEP, right? Libraries, senior centers, senior buildings, pharmacists, supermarkets. These are great places to hang out. And so in July, I should say in June, we started calling some of these venues to start setting up meetings for the annual enrollment. And so this is a huge opportunity for you, because this is generally no cost. You go into a senior building where there's 50 or 60 people. You could either set up a table or you could do a presentation about Medicare. And so if you don't have any of these set up, the clock is ticking for the annual enrollment. I think we have a fair amount of those set up. So when you think about your AEP marketing, right? If you don't have a plan yet, the clock is ticking, right? And so you don't want to just be managing your book of business, right? If you're managing your book of business, you're not growing. Most people that are on the Zoom today, they want to grow their business, right? They want to have more revenue for next year. And so you want to manage your book of business, right? If you understand how a CRM works, right? If you manage your client base, you could be emailing, marketing them, asking for referrals, telling them to call you. We still have agents that send out postcards to their book of business. All right, this is something that we do not do. We do not send stuff out in the mail. We have everything organized in our CRM. Everything is tagged client plus, client minus for under 65. And in August, we start sending out emails to them, priming them for the annual enrollment. So we just sent out an email the other day about the Inflation Reduction Act, just basic information about the $2,000 cap, the smoothing provision, right? This is just priming the market. I had 3 of our prospects that are still working got back to us from that. So a CRM and like a constant contact type of program or drip, if you're not doing it, right, you really should be doing it, because you need to make sure you retain your clients, but you also want to have a vehicle to market to your clients, right? Some agents on here also write annuities, do financial planning, do life insurance, right? So these are simple things that if you have all of your clients in a CRM or in like a constant contact type of program, you could send them messaging. If you're not doing this, right, you're behind the times. And this is not me trying to be mean. if you have a book of more than 50 people, right, you need to have them all electronically saved and emailing. This is going to take time, right? But I would say if you're an agent in 2024, it's a must-have, an absolute must-have. Because think about it, you don't want to talk to each of your clients individually. I mean, that is a 2016 way to run your business. Talk to each person, write a paper application and fax it. Like we're well beyond those days. So you want to organize your client base, and you want to send out communication to your clients. All right. So again, when we think about AEP, we're thinking about how many different ways can we get clients to us, right? One is communicating through your own client base through a CRM or a constant contact. And then the other way is walking around, right? Going into pharmacies, going into doctors' offices, going into real estate offices, 1099 employees, right? Working retail, working with Medicare Express, buying leads that will help you close cases during the annual enrollment. Like our agents do all of these, right? And if you're not, you're probably going to get 5 to 10 new cases this AEP. What I tell everybody is that leading up to AEP, you should go back, look at how many cases you wrote last AEP, right? Look yourself in the mirror, say, how hard did I work? What is my goal for this year? Right? If you don't have a goal, you can't hit a goal. And so if you wrote 10 cases last year, that might be great. That may have been your first AEP, right? And so if you're brand new and you picked up 10 new cases, that's good. This year, you want to say, all right, I want to grow by 20%, right? If I have 200 clients, right, I want to grow by 20%. That's 40 new clients. Doable, right? If you have 200 clients, getting 20%, 40, it's definitely doable, but you have to have a plan, and you have to start planning now for that. And you have to think about marketing as a circle, and you have to be doing different pieces to the pie to help you hit your goal. So I would challenge all of you to look at your numbers from last year and figure out what you think is attainable, that what type of effort or finances are you going to put in to grow your book of business for AEP. All right, so let's talk about Medicare seminars. And for this meeting, I'm really going to be talking about educational seminars. So these are non-sales events, right? And so, yeah, if you're not doing turning 65 events, then like you're missing out on a huge opportunity to be picking up clients year round. Turning 65 educational meetings are a great way to generate very, very high intent leads. All right. And then we'll spend some time talking about, Medicare annual enrollment seminars and how you can do educational events there. Does anybody belong to a church? Raise your hand. Okay. All right. Anybody, anybody in the synagogue? Right. Think about where you are, and, if you belong to a faith-based organization, ask them. This year there's a tremendous amount of change, probably the biggest change that we've seen in the Medicare space, right? Ever since I've been in the market, right? I haven't seen this amount of disruption that we're going to see. And so, these seniors, they need our help, right? You're the experts. And so, think about, is there a group that you can get in front of? Right? Maybe it's not a church, maybe it's, but maybe it is. And so think about how you can get in front of 10 to 20 people in one shot. Because if you get in front of 10 to 20 people, it's going to be very difficult not to write 3 to 4 cases. So let's talk about seminars, right? Or meetings, right? The biggest piece is going to be, where is your location? Sometimes finding a location is very difficult, right? Free locations are great. Sometimes Sometimes, you have to pay and rent a room. Sometimes you have to buy food. Sometimes you don't. Senior centers are great, right? We're trying to get ourselves into senior centers right now, right? There's no cost for that. There's really no marketing for that. That's really good. People will come out for educational events at diners during the annual enrollment, and also for turning 65 as well. So once you figure out your location, right, then you're going to figure out who's your audience, whether it's going to be a turning 65 meeting, or if it's going to be an annual enrollment meeting, right? And then you're going to have to figure out, is the venue itself going to market for you, or do you have a budget to market for that event, right? And so generally senior centers, you don't have to market, they'll do it for you. But if you want to do a diner or a hotel, you're gonna have to spend money to get people into the room. If you believe in yourself, then you will spend the money to invest to get people into a room. Like if you have something at a diner or a hotel, like people aren't just going to automatically show up if you don't market. Social media is huge right now, and so if you are doing an event, it makes a ton of sense to post on your social channels, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, whatever you're into, because you'll see, just posting stuff consistently on your Facebook social network, you'll see that it will go to people that you had no idea. And so that's a really important part of marketing as a Medicare agent today. All right. So we have the location, we have the audience, we need to think about marketing, and then we have the event itself. All right. So the event itself, it's like game day, right? When you're going to the event, right, you have to really bring it on. You really have to be charismatic. All right. You have to be likable. You have to generate interest. You have to get people to be attracted to you. It's at the end of the day, right? If you're boring or if you don't know your stuff, people aren't going to follow up with you, and you're not going to be able to get clients. So, think about it as like it's game day, or if you play the guitar, you got to be ready to go when you're on stage. Or if you're an athlete, it's you're ready to go and you're ready to conquer. And so, when we do seminars, we try to be very charismatic, right? We try to stand out from other people, and we want to be, we want to be different than everybody else. There's so many Medicare agents out there that you want to figure out what's your way to set yourself apart from other people. Whether you dress a little bit differently, whether you tell jokes, whether you bring pieces from your life into it. It's very, very important. So when we do like a turning 65 meeting, we're going to have some educational content, right? We're going to have a folder, we're going to have a business card that people are going to be able to either take notes on, an evaluation form, so you could generate leads from them, right? And then after the event's over, right, your work has just started. Because typically at an educational event, right, you're not selling anything during an educational event. You're really just trying to market yourself, see that you're the local expert, and collect a lead form so that you can follow up with people. And then once you follow up, right, you want to have a system where you're calling people until you get them on the phone. And so this is not typically a one call and move on. Think about it. I have a dentist appointment tomorrow. I think I've gotten 9 reminders, 7 text messages, and 2 automatic ring drops that went into my cell phone. Does anybody else get that?
Yeah, my dentist is very diligent about that as well.
We may have the same dentist.
But it's like there's a reason for it. Right? There's a reason for that in 2024 automation is available. And so, we're seeing, right, people are very busy, right? And listen, I don't think I'm all that special in the Medicare business, right? I don't think that just because I show up, 4 new agents are going to come work with me, or when I walk into a room, I'm going to get every single client or every single prospect that's there, right? I mean, you have to have a follow-up system, and you need to be humble about it, right? If you're not going to call the lead, until they tell you not to call you anymore, then I would tell you there's no reason to do any marketing. This is not a one call and move on type of process if they haven't been, if they haven't been referred to you. Now, referrals and leads are completely different. And let's never confuse the two, right? Let's never confuse the two. A referral is somebody in your warm network that's heard of you and knows how great you are. Leads are not that way. You have to be hungry and you have to push that person off of their lethargic trends and make a change. I mean, don't raise your hand, but does anybody have an AOL account here? Right? Or is, I mean, think about it. People are creatures of habit. And, there's a reason why people don't make a change. And so sometimes you need to push people to make a change. Right. And we do that by following up with our leads, letting them know that they're making a mistake by staying in their plan and not doing a product review. All right. And so if you think about seminars, it's a long-term cycle, right? It's the best lead in the business, but it takes strategic planning, right? It takes charisma while you're there, and you have to be charismatic because these people are going usually to multiple meetings, and your follow-up is probably the most important part of the Medicare seminar. We all know that the money in the Medicare business is in the follow-up. People put this off. They don't want to do it. They don't know anything about Medicare, right? And they're rather nervous about it. So, that's why the agents that are growing the quickest, they tend to be the ones that are, more aggressive on the phone. And so, our agency has moved to a over the phone sales model because we could generate a lot of leads or buy leads. And then, our agents can call these people back. They never have to drive anywhere and they're just on the phone the whole day. And we know that clients, you have to generate a pipeline of people to talk to, and you have to follow up with that pipeline until they're ready to close. If you don't have a pipeline, you're not going to close anything. And the more people the more leads that you have in a pipeline will eventually lead to, your revenue growth. And it's all about prospecting. Once you have the prospect, it's all about following up. All right. So let's talk about like the seminar. So picking a location. Sometimes this could be the hardest part of the seminar, right? It's just finding a place. And sometimes when you get a place, then you call them 6 months later and they don't let you back in. So things are always changing. When you're running a meeting, food typically draws better than non-food venues. Not always, but as a general rule of thumb, some of the vendors that we worked with over the years have always said that a small meal typically drives more people to a meeting. If you're spending money an educational event, you want to spend under $15. You are allowed to give a $15 gift card or food equivalent. It can't have monetary value, so you can't buy a Visa card. You can't give a card that's readily transferable into cash. That's a CMS no. But you can give something where they could buy food with it, like a Starbucks card or a Dunkin' Donuts card. Sometimes that helps to get people there. That's been clearly stated in the CMS marketing guidelines that is allowed. So locations, libraries sometimes will put stuff on their social media, or we'll advertise the event for you. All right, so we spoke about this a little bit. I'm just going to refresh it. So if you're going to do educational meetings during AEP, you really should start your cycle of planning in July. And you need to find partnership opportunities. So is anybody an ELK or a member of a VFW? Like these are great, right? And so think about it. If
I'm a member of the Moose.
You're a Moose. Beautiful.
I'm a Moose. Yes, sir.
All right. Are there a lot of 65 plus Moose?
There may be. I did an event last year, and like nobody showed up. So I thought about joining all of them, like elk, like whatever. Just join them all.
So events are driven by marketing. There's no shortcut around it. And so I was in Elk in East Windsor, Not an elk anymore, but I know some of the elks. So think about it. If you lived, let's say you lived in Toms River or Brick or Old Bridge or wherever you live, it doesn't matter. The secret to success in Medicare is being consistent and doing the same thing over and over and over again until you get your results dialed in, right? A lot of agents fail because they try something once and they say it doesn't work. So here's an idea, right? Do an AEP meeting at an Elks Club or a VFW or a Moose or wherever. Do some advertising, send out postcards, see if the local community itself will do social media marketing for you. Now, the way a Medicare business grows is it grows incrementally, right? So the best agents can make $30,000 or $40,000 in their first year with Medicare, right? And so the best agents are growing because they've figured out a way to get in front of clients. And so here's an example of how to think about your business over the next 5 to 7 years. So let's say Carolyn decides to do something at her Elks Club in Clinton, and she gets 10 people to show up this year. All right. She's going to find out what got those 10 people into that Elks Club, right? And hopefully she spent some of her money and sent out postcards or did social media posts to get people there. And so maybe she can only afford to send out 500 postcards, right? Maybe next year, if you got 10 people to your Elks, maybe your goal is to try to get 20, right? So the 10 people from last year, right, they should come back again next year, don't you think? So if you got 10 people to attend your Elks Club and you have email addresses on them and you did a good job, you would think next year you would be able to get their 10, ask them to invite somebody, and then do some additional marketing, right? So I've never been one of these guys that says your Medicare business blows up overnight, because that's just not the way I've seen it. I see a lot of people promising that, but at the end of the day, is you need to be strategic about growing your business. And so think about if you did the Elks Club 4 years in a row, and the first year you spent $500, the second year you spent $750. How great would it be to be able to get 40 people into a room? Are you going to get 40 people this year? Maybe not, but everybody that's here, like, they've chosen their profession to be insurance, right? I don't see anybody here on the Zoom, that wants to go work in a corporate environment, right? You guys are all entrepreneurs, and you all love to work for yourself. And so, AEP seminars are a fantastic way to build a following, right? And so think about it over the next 4 to 5 years. Find a location, be consistent, hit that location a couple times a year, build a relationship, right? One of the things that WellCare was trying to do in the beginning of the year was to try to get, I think they were working a program with the VFW or some type of program. But what works is if you're consistently in that venue, and some days you're going to hit the post, right? I've done seminars, Ethan's done seminars where 6 or 7 people show up and they're all working for turning 65, and it doesn't work. But we could do another one, and you could have 4 people that are ready to go. And so, right, you just need to think long term, and you need to have a plan, and you need to be consistent with that plan. And being in your local community is probably the best way, right? I mean, there's a Facebook group for everything, and some of you are in like 15 or 20 of these Medicare Facebook groups. Think about, John, you live in South Jersey. So in South Jersey, they have Facebook groups per town, right? And so sometimes you can't post in there, but sometimes you can, right? You could post in a local group and saying, hey,
No question. This has generated more leads for me than probably anything. I've paid for Facebook leads that haven't generated the traffic that the neighborhood groups have, and it's free.
Free.
Absolute fact.
So think about it. If you're going to do the Elks Club in wherever you are in South Jersey, why not do a post a week before and then 3 days before and saying, hey, I'm going to be at X location, tons of changes coming to Medicare, would love to see if I could help you this year. And you leave it at that, right? And then you do some postcards and some other things to try to get people to the event, right? I think most people, I didn't put that on silent. So I think most people would spend $1,000 if they can make $1,000. I think most people would spend $3,000 if they can make $2,800 based on the residual. I mean, I would spend $1,000 to make $900 in this business because I know I'm going to get referrals. I know I'm going to keep the client. I know I'm going to manage that client very well. So again, people that aren't growing just haven't hit that way of getting in front of people consistently. And do the events in the same places. Post on social media. Be consistent with social media in groups. And you'll see that you'll eventually get people to fill a room. And and you need to just try to optimize it. Try to do things a little bit differently each time. So this is more turning 65 specific. People that run turning 65 meetings are generally targeting people 2 to 8 months out from turning 65. They generally get some type of list from a lead vendor or advertise on Facebook. So if you just look at demographics, so let's focus this on kind of AEP marketing. So let's say you're going to do an event in your town. You're going to want to focus it in some type of radius. 20 to 30 miles is probably too long. But if you bought a list of people that were, 68 to 71 or 68 to 72, you probably have, several thousand people to mail to. And so, if you mail to a location about a topic that they're interested in, then, you're more likely to get people into a room. But again, if you don't do some type of marketing, you're not going to get people into a room. So we typically say you need to plan an event at least 5 weeks in advance. You need to find a location. You need to lock down that location, and then you need to start doing your marketing about 5 weeks in advance. With the AEP stuff, maybe you could be a little bit closer, but you want to give people a little bit of time so that that they plan for it. Once you get RSVPs, you want to make sure you answer the phone and you RSVP the day of the meeting. If you have a meeting, I know this might sound like it's common sense, but you need to get there early and you need to have everything set up before the first person gets there. Right? You don't want to be setting up the screen and doing everything while people are walking in. When people are walking in, you want to be charismatic, right? You want to try to understand where they are. So when we do these meetings, right, we typically bring somebody and we have a sign-in sheet or at least a checklist. We always ask them, are you on Medicare? Do you have a plan? What type of plan do you have? And then, you kind of know, then you kind of know who to target throughout your seminar on what their individual situation is. So some people say, oh, I have this plan. It left the market, right? It's going out. Those people are highly motivated to make a change. Somebody can say, oh, I have a United Healthcare Medicare supplement, right? Those people tend to be a little bit harder to get, right? Because they're on what they believe would be the best product. And so when you check people in, if you do it smoothly and ask them where they are, what they have, it kind of helps you with your follow-up, because sometimes you can't follow up with everybody while you're at the meeting. So the check-in is super important to having a profitable event. And you always want to have some type of evaluation form so that they leave and you have some information for them. All right. So the secret sauce is you. Right? There's no other way to say it. When you go to a seminar, people are buying you. right? You have 45 minutes with them, or an hour, or 30 minutes with them. You are the secret sauce. So if you're boring, right? If you're boring and you're not entertaining, then you're less likely to pick people up. Just the way Medicare works, right? I mean, you want to try to be a little bit entertaining if you can, right? You want to make sure that you're getting attention of people any way that you can. And so, like, you know, I try to make it personal, right? I try to connect things to my life, right? I try to make something that's unique to me. Right? Bring your dog into the picture. Bring your wife into the picture. Bring your kid into the picture, right? If you went on a vacation, right, that was cool, right? Bring that into it, right? So I went to Africa about a year ago. That's in my turning 65 presentation. Why? Because it's differentiated, right? It's different. If you just go in, talk about the facts, Medicare is blah blah blah, it's boring, right? People are buying you. So we do a lot of telesales, right? We do a lot of telesales over the phone. And let me back up. Who goes into the house for Medicare appointments? Like, who goes to people's houses? All right. What's the first thing that you're supposed to do when you go into a house? You're on mute, John.
Yeah. For me, I look around the wall and I look for pictures, something to make a connection.
Yeah. Yeah.
Something to make a connection with them.
Yeah.
That's
right?
the first thing.
Yeah, that's 101, right?
Yeah.
That's the first thing you learn as an insurance agent. Look at the walls, look at the pictures, make a connection. Right? Perfect. That's anybody that goes into a house should have been trained on that the first day they went into a house.
Yeah.
So we do telesales to complement our effort. It's the same thing. I can't look on the wall, but I'm going to try and build rapport. Where they live, what they like, how many grandchildren do you have, right? Get them talking. And seminars are no different, right? A seminar is a lead generation tactic. It just is. I mean, everything that we do in this business is around marketing for lead generation. And how do you set yourself apart from somebody else, right? How do you make a connection with somebody, right? And that's going to be different, right? That's going to be different for everybody. And so, you have to try to really think about this. Yes, you're gonna present some boring information about Medicare, right? And at the end of the day, there's so many people that need our help, and you have to find a way to break through to them about yourself. So these are some ways that I do it. You try to do things a little bit differently. Try to make that connection with somebody else, and then after the meeting is over, you want to have some type of evaluation so that you could follow up with people. And I listen. The turning 65 meetings work. They are expensive for lead generation. Medicare annual enrollment meetings work, and this year, because of all the disruption around the Inflation Reduction Act, I think there's going to be a big need for both sales events with the carriers as well as your own events that you could talk about. So, and again, we spoke about this. When you're running a seminar, right, the money's in the follow up. So if you get 15 lead sheets, right, you got to call them back until they tell you that they're not interested. Right, leaving messages does not count. Right, leaving a message does not count as a contact. You need to be following up with these people until they tell you that they're not interested anymore. So on our website, So Golden Years, mkg.net. This is our site. If you haven't gotten to it, if you go to tools and then go to Medicare Seminar in a Box. We have some files here that you could download. There's some social media posts that you could download. These are for turning 65. There's some copy that you could paste into Facebook here. All right. There's some turning 65 information that you could again post when you put stuff in. Let's see, what else do we have? There's a consent to follow up. There's a pop-up banner that you could build, right? So you want to, while you're at the event, you can create a pop-up, and that you could create that. You go on to the different sites. Let's see. Oops. Let's see. Event materials. It's a little table 10, and there's a slide deck in here somewhere for turning 65. Let's see, some how-to guides, how to set things up. And then Integrity created a slide deck that's completely compliant if you wanted to do a Medicare 101 that you could put your name on. All right. So this is downloadable. It's been approved by Integrity if you don't have a slide deck that you can present with. All right. So if you go to our site, again, goldenyearsmarketing.net, and then go to tools, Medicare Seminar Box, you can grab all that. Let's see. All right. Is anybody here going to our event next Friday in Forked River? All right.
Yeah,
So we have, yep. So we have a we have our what I'd say is our flagship event of the year. We have around 90 agents that are registered. All the carriers will be there. So they're all gonna be there where they could talk about their plan changes. And then when we get to the meeting, we're also gonna have more social media posts for you. So if you're a contracted agent with Golden Years, we're gonna create annual enrollment specific Facebook posts for you to be able to post at different times of the annual enrollment. So what you want to do is for AEP, there's 7 weeks, right? You want to be priming your network. So you want to be priming your network, and you never know how big your network is, right? And so if you think about it, if you have all of your contacts and you can email drip, like in August, you want to start to email your clients about the changes that are coming, so they work with you during the annual enrollment. You want to do at least 6 to 7 Facebook posts about the annual enrollment, educational. So in October, right, you want to say, hey, the annual enrollment is only 2 weeks away. Major changes coming. A week before, you're going to want to say, hey, the Inflation Reduction Act is coming. Major changes to the prescription drug program. Make sure you talk to your licensed agent about what we plan on seeing this year in terms of plan changes. October 15th, today's the first day that we can change plans. Then create a post about, hey, do you have a Medicare supplement plan? Do you know now's the time to change? If you've had a recent rate increase, please come and schedule an appointment with me. Do something at the end of November, only 1 week left don't miss out on your opportunity to make a change for 2025, and then do one the day before Medicare annual enrollment ends. So we have a lot of these things in development. I don't know if I'm gonna have them all done for the Captains In, but my goal is for all the agents that work with my team is to create some social media posts that all you have to do is copy and paste and drop into your Facebook and social media. So if you think about it, right, this is a social media driven way to communicate. It just is, right? Some of you are in different Facebook groups with me. There's 6,000 members in some of these Facebook groups, right? And all these guys are doing now to recruit agents is they're basically marketing to you in these groups. It's a fantastic way to communicate. So we're doing it in our business, right? In the insurance space, kudos to the guys that have developed these large groups, but the model works, right? You should be on LinkedIn building your connections so that you could communicate to people. You should be, increasing your friends on Facebook, whether it be, your wife's friend, whomever, right? The more people that you can connect with, your message, your 7 to 8 messages during the Medicare annual enrollment will give you greater reach of people that can reach out to you, right? And there's no better lead than somebody that reaches out to you asking for help, right? It's much better than buying a turning 65 lead that you have to call 13 times, right? And so, I think we have some agents that have a completely social media driven business, right? I have an agent in North Jersey. She doesn't leave the house. She has our entire network on Facebook and LinkedIn with financial planners, friends, and she gets all of her business through social media. And so, you're basically 2 months out from the annual enrollment, right? You should be thinking about a communication platform on social media and an email drip campaign to your clients. And it doesn't need to be super sophisticated, right? It's just about hitting them and letting them know that you're there. So, consistency is better than perfection. So if you have 6 or 7 messages that are okay, then, build it now because you're not going to have time to create content once October comes.
Right.
Because I know that everybody has to do as many client reviews as possible. So we have some content on our website that you can pull down for seminars. And sometimes you don't even need slides to do a presentation, right? You go from there. Oh, the other thing, one of our integrity partners created let's see. One of our integrity partners created a slide deck on the Inflation Reduction Act. Right? This is unbranded. And so this isn't on our website yet, but if you email Zaniette, she'll send it out. We're going to eventually put it up there. But this is an unbranded slide deck that talks about the Inflation Reduction Act and, not product specific, but, talking about some of the changes to the Part D benefit redesign. So people are, our clients are highly motivated about prescription costs, right? If they take branded diabetes meds, they're mad as hell, right? We just had a client today call about Januvia, right? Doesn't understand why he has to pay $600 the first time he gets it. So, the drug component is a big deal, and so I think this will be I think this is a good in to start talking to people that isn't necessarily product specific. And so, this is something that if you work with us, we'll send it over to you. And this is just another way to provide, educational content to your clients. All right. So that was my, that was my presentation for today. If you haven't registered for the Captains In, it's next Friday, the 16th. It runs from 10:30 to around 3. It's a great event, And we hope that, you know, all you guys can make it. Any questions, any comments, any thoughts about these types of ways to market? Nothing? Nobody has a comment? All right. Anybody have a favorite hat I wore today?
Yeah, I like the Panama Jack hat.
Panama Jack?
I got to get me one of those.
That was the number one guy right there?
Yeah, there you go.
Indiana,
Good stuff.
Indiana
Good
Jones.
stuff, Devin. Thank you.
All right.
Devin, thanks, man.
All right, guys, like now is the time to, you know, now's the time to be planning them, right? Sometimes you need to take a step back from your Medicare business, right? And, you know, and do some strategic planning. And that will help you, you know, land people, you know, and pick up new stuff. So anything that we could do to help you, you know, please let us know. I know a lot of you guys are registered for our meeting, and I look forward to having fun next Friday with all you guys. And thanks for joining. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Devin.
Devin.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Appreciate your time. Thank you so much.